What's going on, everybody? Paul Tech here, and welcome to the revisit review of the LG Volt. Now, the LG Volt was released back in May of 2014. It was an affordable device from LG, released on Virgin Mobile, Sprint, as well as Boost Mobile. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you my experience of using this in 2018. Let me go ahead and give you a tour of the LG Volt. Taking a look at the right-hand side, you do have your power button there, and working our way to the left, you do have your volume up and down. Now with the LG Volt, it is a pretty compact device. You're going to have some really good one-handed operation with this, and the volume rockers as well as the power button is nice and easy to reach. Taking a look at the bottom, now it looks like this does have dual down-firing speakers, but it's just the far left. The far right one is just for looks, micro USB charging, and your microphone to the bottom there. Up on top, you do have a 3.5mm headphone jack, your noise cancellation mic, and this even has an IR blaster. Taking a look at the back of the LG Volt, got an 8-megapixel rear-facing camera, LED flash, as well as LG branding. And the LG Volt also came in two different colors, the white variant that I have here, and then there was also a black-colored LG Volt. This is actually a very durable smartphone, and cosmetically, it's actually held up pretty well, considering I have had this since 2014, and I've been using it off and on. And this does come in with a weight of 4.8 ounces, and you are getting pretty much an all-plastic built design here. The back is removable, and if you take a look at the back cover there, this does have NFC. So again, in 2014, this is actually a pretty cool feature, having NFC, as well as a removable high-capacity 3000 milliamp hour battery. And now removing that back cover also gives you access to a micro SD card slot, so you can also expand the storage, which you will definitely need to do with the LG Volt. Moving on to display here. Now you are getting a 4.7-inch 960 by 540 resolution, about 234 pixels per inch. This is an IPS panel, and you're also getting that 16:9 aspect ratio, as well as Gorilla Glass 2. Now when I first took a look at this display, I thought it looked great. I think it had some good viewing angles, nice color reproduction, and I honestly thought this was a 720p resolution display. That's how good it looks. But it's not. It is only 480p, so you're not going to have the best quality, or the highest quality I should say, when you are watching Netflix or YouTube videos. No 60 frames per second play on this, but all the YouTube videos run perfectly fine. And even today in 2018, these free port over phones from Cricket Wireless, you know, most of them are still on 480p panels as well. So again, it's a nice looking panel here with the LG Volt. And to the bottom of the LG Volt is your home button, and this also acts as your notification LED light. And I thought this was the coolest feature when I picked this up back in 2014, because it filters through different colors and you can customize it under settings depending on the notification you receive. Now let's go ahead and talk about that single down firing speaker. Again, it's just the far left one. The far right one, I guess, was just for looks, so it'll just kind of match to the bottom there. And LG was definitely doing speaker placement right here. I mean, the single down firing speaker is great. I mean, this is good placement compared to a back-firing speaker. So, you know, LG definitely nailed it in that department with the speaker placement, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to phone calls, you know, the LG Volt is still fully capable of making phone calls, and phone calls sound about average coming from the LG Volt. And the same thing with text messages, sending emails. Keyboard sensitivity is, you know, average on the LG Volt. I do notice sometimes I have to press a letter sometimes twice. In the keyboard, you still have ways of customizing the height of it, as well as different themes to choose from. So what's powering the LG Volt? It is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 series processor, clocked at 1.1 gigahertz. This also has 1 gig of RAM, unfortunately, as well as the Adreno 305. Now, when it comes to these sensors, you know, the LG Volt did have quite a bit of sensors, as you can see there. Unfortunately, it is missing the gyroscope, the gyro sensor. So today, VR 360 videos is not going to be really good on the LG Volt. When it comes to performance with the LG Volt, it actually surprised me because it did perform fairly well. Now, it didn't perform extremely well. It wasn't like performing like, you know, a ZTE Blade Z Max or a Stylo 3 Plus or a J7, anything like that. But the performance definitely was like on par, going back again to these Cricket Wireless free port over phones like the Alcatel Verso. The performance was very similar to something like that. Now, you're definitely going to see some slow loading times when you are launching applications. And again, with the 1 gig of RAM, you definitely don't want to have a lot going on in the background. You definitely want to keep that down to a minimum for better overall performance. But again, it was not a terrible experience using the LG Volt as my daily driver in 2018. Like I said, I noticed that there is some slow loading times when launching applications, and I just had to be a little bit more patient while using the LG Volt compared to some other affordable smartphones that I used today in 2018. And my LG Volt here is running Android version 4.4.2, which is KitKat, and that was the last update this had ever received. Now, I never rooted this device and never added a custom ROM, but if you are interested in doing that, I'm going to go ahead and link a video to a good buddy of mine, Tito Escobar. He also breaks down the basic evolution of the LG Volt series. Some good stuff to check out. Link in description below. Now, while I was using the LG Volt, since it is running an older version of Android, when I jumped on the Google Play Store, some applications aren't supported, unfortunately. So like Geekbench 4, I couldn't run those tests. Now, you also got some good features baked into the LG Volt, which is QSlide applications. And I absolutely love this feature. And you can basically choose from select apps right there in your status bar, and then you can open them up, have them running side by side, and you have full function over the display. So, a good way of multitasking the Volt. And jumping into settings, you got some good stuff baked in here as well, like NFC, you can do Android Beam, Smart Share Beam, Miracast, as well as wireless storage. And with Google Pay becoming so popular more and more these days, the LG Volt does support that. So that's actually good to see the LG Volt does support Google Pay. And moving on to internal storage, this is an area where it's very weak on this device. Only 8 gigs of internal storage, but that was very normal back in 2014 with affordable smartphones. Thank God we are now up to 16 gigs and 32 on affordable devices, but you can also input an SD card to expand the storage on the LG Volt. Now, when it comes to the IR blaster, it is still working 100% perfectly fine here in 2018. I had no problems pairing this up with my smart television, and this is a feature I absolutely love in smartphones. And I noticed the IR blaster seems to be becoming a thing of the past, kind of like a headphone jack, which is kind of a shame to me. When it comes to gameplay on the LG Volt, I did throw a variety of different games off the Google Play Store at the Volt to see how well it would perform. Now, the best performance I got from games was like this, for instance, Subway Surfers, and the previous game, Geometry Dash. When I did try to throw more graphic intense games at the Volt, it just struggled. I had a hard time. Sometimes the games wouldn't even load and they would just crash on me. So I don't recommend this device for really hard graphic intense games. Moving on to the cameras now. So an 8 megapixel rear facing camera with LED flash and a whopping 1.3 megapixel front facing camera. I'm gonna go ahead and share with you the camera interface here, and shutter speed is actually okay on the LG Volt. You got your touch to focus there. And I'll go ahead and jump into the video recording mode. This option always appears for long video or MMS video. And this can record also at 1080p at 30 frames per second. Now, the 8 megapixel rear facing camera can produce okay shots in good lighting scenarios, well-lit environments. Low light, things get very grainy, especially with that front-facing camera in low light situations. You got some different options to choose from, like geotagging. You can use the volume key, you can adjust brightness. You got different modes to choose from as well. So again, the 8 megapixel camera is okay. The front-facing camera is just not that great, especially at low light. Here's some sample photos shot on the LG Volt. When it comes to battery life on the LG Volt, again, a 3000 milliamp hour removable battery, and battery life is still fantastic on the LG Volt. I can get through an entire day off a single charge. And again, this is not pushing a whole lot of pixels or anything like that. So again, fantastic battery life on the Volt. Well, that's pretty much it for my revisit review of the LG Volt in 2018. I think this actually had some pretty awesome features, especially for the price tag you got it for back in 2014. And yeah, I think LG definitely did a lot of things right on the LG Volt. Well, let me know what you guys think about this smartphone. Let me know if you owned this device previously. Let me know if you're still using this phone. And if you did enjoy this, revisit review, please hit that thumbs up button. And please subscribe to the channel for more future videos. This is Paul Tech, and I will talk to you on the next one. Bye.